sure tests are very much like that, actually. You put the swab in a little container and mush it around, swipe it around, and then use a strip on it. And so, and it looks like a strip, almost like a pregnancy testing strip. Andy Shore says you don't have to use a speculum, but if you're doing something like a fern or a pool or a nitrogen, you really need to, and you can do it with a speculum. The other company, Biotech, their product you do need, and you do need to use a speculum, and they show a picture of the speculum. But just to show you that. Let's see, I think we're at a nice convenient breaking point. I think I'll start tomorrow with Lisa Chalmers' video.
What?
Would be a nice lively way to start that. And I want to show you a little bit about Providence. I suggest that you bring, if you are unfamiliar with this building, that bringing a map is not a bad idea. All right, so does everybody know the Pacific campus of Providence is?
No.
No.
It's on Pacific.
Where's that?
Courthouse, you drive all the way down to Mazatlán and it's on your.
I'm from Everett.
From here.
I know.
It's really good.
Is it? It's not on the main campus, right? It's
No, it's nowhere. Nowhere near it. On the other side of the
Oh.
instead of like Highway 2, it's like you take that exit.
Okay, so
You're going north.
here we are here. All right, here we are up here on the north side of Everett. So right where my little hand is here, everybody knows that that's where we are now, right? Where my little hand is here, right? Little hand symbol, right?
Everett.
So we're up here, like at 10th, right? So we have, strawberry bubbles. Okay, so they can find you a better map.
Google?
It's
Yeah.
not very far.
What? It's not very far.
No, it's super, super easy.
It's not walking distance like Colby,
Try Google Maps.
but it is a good like 5 minutes. Because they call down sometimes OB.
So we're up here in North Everett, right? Everybody knows where Broadway is, right? Sure. Right out there, right? All right, so here's Broadway. Here's Everett Community College, here's Broadway. Head down Broadway.
Oh, it's so hard to see.
3D map.
Go past, go up, and we then turn down Pacific, right? So here's Broadway, we turn up Pacific. Keep turning here.
Oh, is it that Mexican?
Ah. And so let me focus in on that a little bit. See the little hospital symbol here? So Pacific and Nassau. And the building is right just past Federal Avenue on the Pacific side. So the building itself, so here's Broadway. Do you see Broadway? Yes. All right, and you're going to head west towards the water a few blocks, and the hospital is over here. Okay, this is the Pacific campus. Now then, the parking garage that we need to use is on Nassau Street. So turn, and that's where all the staff park, including the doctors. Okay. Make a left on Nassau and go to employee parking. You must have a badge to get in. Your badge, yeah, you must have a badge to get into the parking garage. Park in the parking garage in a place that doesn't say physician parking. Define parking, staff parking. Okay, there's plenty of parking in the Nassau. I've already talking over. So the garage, there is a way for you to go around and to go downstairs to get to the pavilion building. But it's the pavilion, and it's labeled on the outside in big letters, Women and Children's Pavilion. Women and Children's Pavilion. me see if I can show you satellite traffic, satellite events, okay? Let's see. So here is Nassau. Okay, do you see the parking garage here and how big that is? Alright, and then walk out, there's an exit door here. You can walk down the little road here, and there are stairs that go back here. And this is the building that we are in.
Oh.
This is the building that we're going to be in, this is the parking garage. And so you could just walk outside, there's the stairs, and then walk along the building. The entrance is over here. The entrance is over here. And this is one of the doorways. And so, and this is the building that we will be in. Okay? So that's the building we'll be in. Is there a way to cut through this building? Yes, but, you know, you ever notice how hospitals are built one wing on top of another, and it's not easy to explain? I can walk it through with you, but I can't really tell you on the map very easily. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll just double check, you already have a Providence badge, it works here, or do you have to go there and get a badge here?
It's supposed to work there, and Dawn has sent your names to security, and they are, and nursing education, and they are supposed to know, and your badges are supposed to be active for the FMC, Pavilion, Acute Peds, and NICU. They're supposed to be, and it's a general checkbox for all three of those units, FMC, Acute Peds, and NICU. Have we ever gone there and found that not everybody's badge worked? Yes. But have they been contacted and given your names? Yes. So we're crossing our fingers. If you run into trouble, talk to security. They are at the front entry desk. Okay? But please bring your badge with you. If you want to drive up and try it on the garage, if it works on the garage, you know you're fine. Right?
Did that yesterday.
It's a way of doing it with, you know, so, all right. And so, yeah, this is like the Bethany building and that sort of thing, so you're playing there. Okay. Let's look at the actual map. So here's a map of all the floors. So here's the entrance. And there is a bistro over here on the first floor. I'm supposed to show you that. These are the visitor elevators, right? I'm supposed to show you that. Here are the entrance elevators. You are going to go up to the 3rd floor for your first shift. Go up to the 3rd floor, get off the elevator. I would write down these steps just to help you. And then go around the back hallway towards the classroom. Go around the back hallway to the staff lounge. See where this little room is here? That's where the staff lounge is. I'm going to go to a different map now. All these maps are published in your module, so you can download these and bring one with you if you would like.
Right.
And I suggest that.
Right.
All right. So here are the visitor elevators that you came up. Here is a classroom over here. You're going to come around here. There'll be some double doors to go through. You'll go past a nurse's station, and then there is the break room here. When you go into the break room, there will be some sofas in the back. The only space we have to put things is behind the sofas. So please don't bring equipment that you can't carry with you, like a laptop or tablet, because even though this is a locked room, there are all kinds of people who have badges to that room. You can't keep things secure. Does that make sense? Okay. So pack light. Pack your food though. Pack the papers that we asked you to bring, like your scavenger hunt and your can and cannot do list and your crap. Okay. So pack the things you need. So put your things away, out of the way behind the sofas. Make sure to gather up your supplies. Be ready to get report. And then go back out to meet your instructor. And so there's a waiting area here that is a common place for instructors to ask you to meet them. And that is a good place for my team to meet me. I'm waiting for room assignments from the hospital, they've been requested. So we will go to either the third floor classroom or the fourth floor classroom typically for our pre-briefing and to make assignments. So let's look at this. I'm going to show you another page on this document. This is the fourth floor. FMC is on the fourth and third floors. So I want to show you just a couple of things for you to know. When a patient comes in for labor, they come up the visitor elevator, they come around here, they register for triage. Follow my cursor. And then they are brought back into triage. We have these little beds in the triage. We have 6 beds in triage for OB triage. Okay, so 6 beds for OB triage. Okay, so that helps you a little bit. Okay, so there is, and they come to the admitting area, they come to triage. This is in the very center of that fourth floor. If they are in labor, they will come out, they will come down and around the corner, and there's another set of patient transport elevators. You need your badge to use these elevators. You should only use them when you are with a patient. Otherwise, you can use the visitor elevator or use any of the 3 staircases to go from floor to floor. The reason is that our triage floor is on a different floor from the operating room and neonatal ICU and delivery rooms. If a multiparous patient comes in hot screaming labor at 10 centimeters, and we're trying to get that patient into a laboring bed, do you understand why that person needs to be a priority? We need to keep those, the patient transport elevators should only be used for patient transport. For that reason, we've only got 2 of them. If a baby needs to be transported to NICU in a hurry, those are our elevators. So we should not use those elevators just for ourselves. Just use the visitor elevator, right? If you're going to get coffee, just use the visitor elevator, right? If you prefer to use the elevator, use the visitor elevator. But these I want to save for patients in case they need them. Does that all? Cool. All right. So then the patient gets on the elevator, then they go to the 3rd floor. And then they will be admitted to one of the LDR suites. And let's see, just go. Okay. So then they'll come in this elevator and they'll come to one of these rooms. Okay. The patient rooms are all around the edges. They get the window seat, right? They get the window seats. Most of the labor deliveries are in the 3rd floor self pod. These are organized, the floor is organized into pods. North, when you look out the window, you'll see the water, north for Navy. North for Navy. Center, south. Most of the labor is done in the south pod. Also the center pod. This is the center pod. We also have our operating rooms on the 3rd floor here. And we also have our recovery rooms for C-sections here. Our patients who are having a VBAC, we put them in 320 or 314 because they're close to the OR if we need them. It's one way we keep people safe, right? For VBAC is that we make sure, make sure that they are close, right? And here's our 3rd floor break room, which is right near there. There are locker rooms here. Each pod has a nurse's station. Okay. And so there is a nurse's station at each pod, right? So like 3 South nurse's station. There's a clean supplies, soiled utility. This is actually a staff toilet. It's marked staff, even on the map. Because there is a nutrition room here, clean supply, locker rooms. The locker rooms do have showers. Okay? And there are scrubs in that room if you are going in with a patient for a cesarean section. Okay? So that's where the locker rooms are. The 3 Center Nurses Station is also where the charge nurse's desk is. And the med room is a place that also has lots of computers. It's not really a med room. We put the meds over here, clean supply actually. There's another nourishment room, our operating rooms, supply rooms, scrub rooms. Right, more clean utility. There's a staircase here. There is a staircase here too. Okay. me back up a little bit. Okay. All right, there's also a 3 North nurses station and nutrition room over here. There's a staircase here. Evacuation. If there was a true crisis requiring evacuation of patients, you are to go to the north and south or stealth stairwell with your patient. If you have a patient with an epidural who cannot move, right? They're not gonna walk down those stairs, right? We're going to wheel them to the hallway and wait for EMS. They know where to find us, they know which stairwells we go to help literally carry the patient out of the hospital. If we absolutely had to evacuate a hospital. Do we all hope we never, ever, ever have to survive an evacuation of a hospital? Yes. Anybody remember a little thing called Katrina? Yeah, and people had to evacuate hospitals, and yeah, I mean, it would take a true crisis to make us evacuate. There would be unsafe conditions in the building for us to need to evacuate. But it's part of my job to tell you about evacuations. By the way, are there fire alarms at each of the staircases? Yes. Are there fire alarms at each of the nurses' stations? Yes. Are there gas turnoffs at each of the nurses' stations in case of emergency? Yes. Are there gas turnoffs outside of operating rooms? Yes. Are there fire extinguishers wall mounted at nurses' stations and labeled with the fire extinguisher sign? Yes. Everybody knows RACE, rescue, alarm, contain, extinguish or evacuate, and you know pass, pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. Pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. Yeah, Jessica.
Just a quick question. You mentioned that laboring patients are put in 3 South and kind of in the center.
The center, yeah.
Who goes in the north?
Antepartum. The antepartum admissions, so like the patient who has preeclampsia, the patient whose water broke at 28 weeks, and we're trying to buy some time. The patient who has a little bit of bleeding from a placenta previa at 32 weeks, and we're trying to buy a little more time. So we keep them down the hallway on the same floor as our labor and OR units. Once the patient delivers, then they go back to the 4th floor, and they go to the rooms in the 4th floor. And the 4th floor is organized very similarly. Sometimes we will also fill in, let's say we only have, there have been times when we had maybe just a couple of high-risk antepartum patients, right? And we might fill in some other we just might move a couple of postpartum beds here and have postpartum people down here too. So occasionally we might use 3 Norths for some postpartum beds as well. Okay. Classroom is here, right? Classroom is there. All right. And then let me just look in at, yeah, and each pod has a nutrition room, each pod has, all right. So here's Yoga. So here's 4 North. 4 North is the last unit that usually gets filled, by the way. So if you need a quiet space for a minute to look up something, that's a good place for it. But your staff should always know where you are, by the way. If you want a quiet moment, make sure to always talk to your nurse in case they're looking for you or want your assistance with anything, or, right, always. You should know where you are, okay? If you're going to lunch or whatever, okay? So here's 4 South, so these are postpartum beds. Again, there's a nurse's station, clean utility, soiled utility, a staff bathroom, a nutrition room. There's another clean supply. This is also it's labeled a nursery, but it's also where procedures are done, like circumcisions, things like car seat tests if the baby's a preemie are done here. There's a 4 Center nurses station. Again, this is where triage is, clean supply. There's also a dirty supply here, soil supply. These are patient rooms. This is also referred to as the precip room. If a patient's about to precipitously deliver their baby, and we just want them not to be in triage, we'll roll across the hall. If we don't have time to make it to the 3rd floor. Having said that, even with a precip room, have there occasionally been people who have delivered in triage? Yes, that happens. All right, here's the 4th floor classroom, right above the other one, right? There's also a fourth floor break room right above. It's the same map, right? Instead of an OR, we have triage, okay? Code carts are located outside of triage and outside the operating room. Code carts, both neonatal and adult. You know the neonatal one because it's pastel green. The adult one looks like an adult one, it's bright red. Okay. So that's where code cards are, okay? And here's 4 North, there's a staircase, there's a nurse's station. There's also some call rooms and offices here for like providers who are spending the night because their patients are here. Okay. So that gives you the lay of the land in terms of map. Everybody knows what their color alert systems are, right? So you know that a code red is a awesome. Code blue. Respiratory cardiopulmonary arrest, right? Unless we're talking all fetal heart stones, right? All right, code orange is a spill. Code gray is
Security.
battered person, yep. Code silver is weapon. Code silver means involves a weapon. It can also involve a hostage situation.
Yeah.
An amber alert is kidnap, abduction. Babies have security bands called hugs tags. If they get too close to an exit, it automatically locks the doors.
Oh, cool.
Things, just for you to know.
Innovation.
So if you were, we have to let the HUC know, the health unit coordinator, the HUC know, like if we're moving babies from floor to floor, from 3rd to 4th floor, so we don't set off the alarms, which periodically happens, right? So that does happen, right? And that's because wherever you have children, there is the risk of abduction. So things like acute pediatric units are supposed to be locked. Postpartum units are supposed to be locked. Not just anybody can enter those units. And seriously, one of my high school friends, his nephew was abducted from a hospital in Maryland and never found. Yeah. So it gets, right? All right. I think that's enough. Everybody's up. Those are codes and things. I think, anybody have any remaining questions other than maybe which class